Let me ask you something. What's stopping you from the life you know you were meant to live? Is it a lack of time, lack of resources? Maybe you think you're not ready yet. Let me tell you the truth. None of that is the real problem. The real problem isn't outside of you, it's inside. It's the habits, the thoughts, the patterns that are keeping you stuck. And today, we're going to quit them. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because the truth is, success isn't just about what you start doing, it's about what you stop doing. You can have all the right strategies, but if you're still carrying the weight of bad habits, limiting beliefs, and toxic patterns, you'll never break through. So are you ready to drop what's been holding you back, to step into your real potential? Then let's get to it. Here are 8 things you need to quit today. Excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. They're the justifications we create to avoid discomfort, responsibility, and action. They sound logical, they sound valid, but deep down, we know they're just illusions, lies we whisper to ourselves so we don't have to face the truth. I don't have time. That's a classic one. The reality? You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is how you use them. Look around. There are people with busier schedules, harder circumstances, and more obstacles, yet they still find a way. It's not about time, it's about priority. It's about making what you say you want an actual non-negotiable in your life. I don't know how. Welcome to the club. Nobody starts out knowing how to do anything. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a disaster. The difference? They didn't use their lack of knowledge as an excuse. They figured it out. They took the first step, learned as they went, and refused to let "I don't know how" become a permanent roadblock. Because in today's world, not knowing how to do something is a choice. You have access to more information than any generation before you. Books, courses, mentors, tutorials, endless resources at your fingertips. I don't know how isn't an excuse anymore. It's a decision to stay where you are. I'm not ready. This one keeps more dreams buried than any other. But let me ask you, when will you be ready? When things are perfect? When the stars align, when you wake up one day magically filled with confidence, that day isn't coming. You don't feel ready and then take action. You take action and then you become ready. Readiness is built in the process. You gain confidence by doing, not by waiting. Every successful person you admire didn't start because they felt 100% prepared. They started before they were ready, and that's why they succeeded. What if I fail? What if you don't? What if staying where you are is the real failure? What if never trying is worse than falling short? People use fear of failure as an excuse to stay safe, but the truth is, failure is part of growth. It's part of learning. Every setback teaches you something. Every mistake makes you stronger. The only real failure is never starting at all. Excuses feel comfortable. They keep us in our safe little bubble, free from risk and responsibility. But they also keep us stuck. They rob us of potential. They are the invisible walls of the prison we build around ourselves. And the worst part? We don't even realize we're the ones holding the key. The most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, there's a voice inside your head. That voice either builds you up or tears you down. It either pushes you forward or holds you back. And for most people, that voice is brutal. It's harsh. It's unforgiving. Think about it. If you spoke to your friends the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friends? If someone else followed you around all day whispering the same criticism, doubt, and negativity into your ear, would you tolerate it? Would you accept it? No, you'd push back, you'd cut them off, you'd tell them to get out of your life. And yet, when it comes from inside your own mind, you let it run unchecked. You let it dictate how you feel, what you do, and what you believe about yourself. Negative self-talk isn't just a bad habit, it's poison. It infects everything. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you'll never succeed. It convinces you that your past defines you, that your mistakes are permanent, that you don't have what it takes. It magnifies every flaw, every weakness, every failure, while completely ignoring your strengths, your resilience, your progress. And the worst part, you start to believe it. Your brain doesn't question it. It doesn't filter out the lies. It simply accepts what you tell it. And over time, those words shape your identity. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not good at this, your brain will make sure you're not. If you keep saying, I'll never be successful, your brain will prove you're right. Your thoughts create your reality, whether you like it or not. You weren't born with this voice. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself, tearing yourself down, second-guessing your every move. No, you learned it. Maybe it came from past experiences, moments where you felt rejected, moments where you failed, moments where someone else's words cut deep and planted a seed of doubt inside you. Maybe it came from society, from unrealistic standards, from the constant comparison that makes you feel like you're always behind. Wherever it came from, the result is the same. You became your own worst enemy. And the cycle continues. Every time you let that voice win, every time you reinforce those negative beliefs, you dig the hole deeper. You make it harder to break free. You condition yourself to expect failure, to settle for less, to play small. You sabotage yourself before you even start, not because you aren't capable, but because you convinced yourself you aren't. And the more you do it, the harder it becomes to imagine anything different. But here's the truth. That voice isn't real. It's not you. It's just an old recording playing on a loop. It's a script you've been reading from for years, maybe even decades, without questioning it. And like any script, it can be rewritten. It can be replaced. But first you have to recognize it. You have to catch it in the act. You have to become aware of how often you do it, of the words you use, of the way you talk to yourself when nobody's listening. You have to interrupt the pattern, stop the cycle, break the habit before it breaks you. It won't happen overnight. It won't be easy. But every time you challenge that voice, every time you replace it with something better, you take back control. You rewire your mind. You start building a new story, one that empowers you instead of limits you, one that pushes you forward instead of holding you back. Because the words you tell yourself every day matter more than anything else. And the sooner you change them, the sooner you change your entire life. The people you surround yourself with shape your life more than you realize. They influence how you think, how you feel, how you act, even how you see yourself. Some people lift you up, push you forward, and make you better. Others drain you, hold you back, and make you question your worth. And the hard truth is, if you don't actively choose who belongs in your life, you will end up stuck with the wrong people by default. Toxic relationships don't always look toxic at first. Sometimes they start out as friendships, partnerships, or even family connections that seems supportive, but over time, you start to notice patterns, the way they talk to you, the way they react when you succeed, the way you feel after spending time with them. Pay attention, because toxic people rarely announce themselves. They show up as the friend who constantly criticizes your ideas, the family member who guilts you into staying small, the partner who controls instead of supports. They disguise their negativity as concern. They hide their jealousy behind fake encouragement. And before you even realize it, their words, their energy, their influence start shaping the way you see yourself. Maybe it's the friend who only calls when they need something but disappears when you need help. The one who drains your energy, fills your conversations with complaints, and makes you feel worse instead of better. Maybe it's the person who subtly undermines you, makes you second guess yourself, or minimizes your achievements. The one who always has something negative to say, who never celebrates your wins, who always finds a way to bring the attention back to themselves. Or maybe it's someone even closer, the person you share your life with, who should be your biggest supporter, but instead is your biggest source of stress. And here's what makes toxic relationships so dangerous. They don't just hurt you in the moment. They shape your mindset. They make you doubt yourself. They convince you to shrink, to settle, to stop trying. They create invisible ceilings in your life, ceilings you start to accept as normal, because when you hear the same negativity over and over, you start believing it. You start internalizing it. And before long, you're no longer just dealing with a toxic relationship, you're dealing with a toxic self-immune. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how ambitious you are, how much willpower you think you have. If you're constantly surrounded by people who drain you, who fill your head with doubt, who make you feel small, they will pull you down. You cannot outwork a toxic environment. You cannot grow when you're constantly fighting against the people closest to you. And let's be real, cutting people out isn't easy. It's not just about identifying toxic relationships. It's about making the hard decision to walk away, because sometimes the people you need to distance yourself from are the ones you've known the longest, the ones you feel obligated to, the ones who've been in your life for years. But here's what you have to understand. Just because someone has been part of your past doesn't mean they deserve a place in your future. Loyalty should never come at the expense of your peace, your growth, or your happiness. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. They will call you selfish, accuse you of changing, tell you that you owe them your time, your energy, your presence. But remember this, choosing to protect your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. You cannot pour into others when you're constantly being drained. You cannot build a powerful life when you're surrounded by negativity. And you cannot grow into your best self while clinging to relationships that keep you stuck in the past. It's time to be honest about who belongs in your life, who fuels your fire and who puts it out, who encourages your growth and who resents it, who makes you feel empowered and who makes you feel exhausted. Because at the end of the day, the people you surround yourself with will either push you toward your dreams or pull you further away from them. And if someone is holding you back, you have to ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to let them? Fear is a master manipulator. It sneaks into your mind, whispering worst case scenarios, convincing you that risk is dangerous and comfort is safe. It disguises itself as logic, making you believe that hesitation is wisdom and inaction is caution. It feeds you excuses, justifies your procrastination, and keeps you trapped in a cycle of overthinking, second guessing, and playing small. Most people don't realize how much fear controls their lives because it doesn't always look like fear. It looks like being responsible. It looks like waiting for the right time. It looks like being cautious, weighing all the options, making sure everything is perfect before taking action. But deep down, if you strip away all the justifications, all the rationalizations, all the stories you tell yourself, what's left? Fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of taking a leap and falling flat on your face. How many times have you wanted to do something, start a business, switch careers, take on a new challenge, put yourself out there, only to talk yourself out of it? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you convinced yourself you weren't ready? How many times have you allowed fear to make the decision for you, keeping you in the same place, repeating the same patterns, never stepping into your full potential? Fear-based decisions don't just hold you back in one area of life. They create a pattern that seeps into everything. You hesitate to take that opportunity at work because you're afraid of failing, so you stay in a job that drains you. You hesitate to start that fitness journey because you're afraid of looking foolish, so you stay stuck in a body that doesn't feel like yours. You hesitate to have that difficult conversation because you're afraid of confrontation, so you stay in relationships that don't serve you. And every time you let fear win, every time you choose safety over growth, you reinforce the idea that fear is in charge. But here's the thing. Fear is a liar. It magnifies the worst case scenario while completely ignoring the best case scenario. It makes you focus on what could go wrong while blinding you to what could go right. It makes you believe that failure is final, when in reality, failure is feedback. It makes you think that discomfort is dangerous, when in truth, discomfort is where transformation happens. Fear-based decisions will keep you small. They will keep you living beneath your potential, watching other people go after their dreams while you sit on the sidelines convincing yourself you'll go for it one day. But let's be real, when is one day? When will you suddenly wake up and feel fearless? When will the perfect conditions magically align? You already know the answer. That day doesn't exist. Fear isn't something you outgrow, it's something you outmove. It's something you push through. Every successful person you admire has felt fear. Every game changer, every leader, every high achiever has had moments of doubt. The difference? They didn't let fear make their decisions. They didn't wait for the fear to disappear before they took action. They moved forward despite it. They understood that fear is just a signal, not a stop sign. It's an indicator that you're stepping into something new, something unfamiliar, something that has the potential to change your life. And the crazy thing is, when you start making bold moves, when you stop letting fear dictate your choices, you realize something. Most of the things you were afraid of were never actually that scary. The worst case scenario almost never happens. The things you spent years avoiding, worrying about, overanalyzing, they were just shadows on the wall, illusions created by your own mind. But you only see that once you take action, once you stop letting fear decide your future. So the real question is, how much longer are you going to let fear sit in the driver's seat? How many more opportunities are you willing to miss? How many more dreams are you going to sacrifice to the illusion of safety? Because here's the truth, the safest path is often the riskiest. in the long run. The longer you let fear make your decisions, the more you trade your potential for regret. And one day you'll look back and realize that the only thing you should have been afraid of was never taking the leap at all. Procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. It's the thief of time, the destroyer of progress, and the number one reason why people never reach their full potential. It doesn't show up as a dramatic failure. It sneaks into your life disguised as small delays, harmless distractions, and endless justifications. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I just need to be in the right mood. Before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. Procrastination isn't just about laziness. It's not just about poor time management. It's deeper than that. It's about fear, fear of failure, fear of imperfection, fear of facing the hard work required to get what you want. It's about self-doubt, the belief that you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. It's about avoidance, choosing temporary comfort over long-term success, choosing distractions over discipline, choosing what's easy over what's necessary. Think about the things you've been putting off, that project you haven't started, that call you haven't made, that goal you keep saying you'll get serious about soon. Be honest with yourself. How long have you been making excuses? How long have you been telling yourself the same story? And if you keep going at this pace, how much longer will it take? Another year? 5 years? A lifetime? Procrastination tricks you into thinking you have more time than you actually do. It makes you believe that the perfect moment will come, that someday you'll feel more motivated, more prepared, more ready. But the truth is, waiting doesn't make things easier, it makes them harder. The longer you wait, the heavier the task feels. The more you delay, the more overwhelming it becomes. And eventually the weight of inaction becomes greater than the weight of the task itself. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you're choosing to give your time to things that don't matter. Scrolling through your phone, watching one more episode, overanalyzing instead of taking action. Every minute spent procrastinating is a minute stolen from your future self. The version of you who could be stronger, smarter, more successful, more fulfilled. Every time you put something off, you're making a decision to stay the same. And here's the harsh reality. Life doesn't wait, opportunities don't wait, your potential doesn't wait. The world keeps moving, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. Look around. There are people with the same 24 hours as you, the same struggles, the same obstacles, and they're making it happen not because they have more time, not because they have fewer challenges, but because they've trained themselves to act despite those challenges. Procrastination is comfortable. It gives you an escape. It allows you to avoid discomfort, avoid failure, avoid effort. But that comfort comes with a cost. It comes with regret. It comes with missed opportunities. It comes with looking back and realizing that you could have been further, could have done more, could have built the life you wanted if only you had started earlier. And let's be real. When has procrastination ever made you feel better? You put something off, but it still lingers in the back of your mind. It weighs on you, steals your energy, makes you feel guilty. Instead of enjoying your free time, you feel stressed. Instead of feeling accomplished, you feel stuck. Procrastination doesn't give you peace, it takes it away. But the good news, you can break the cycle. You can shift your mindset. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Because the moment you take action, even the smallest step, you take back control, you silence the excuses, you build momentum, and you prove to yourself that you are capable, because in the end, success isn't about waiting for the right moment, it's about making the moment right now. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to drain your confidence, rob your happiness, and steal your motivation. It's a never-ending trap that keeps you feeling like you're never good enough, never successful enough, never far along enough. And the worst part, it's a battle you can never win. Because the moment you start measuring your life against someone else's, you set yourself up for frustration, self-doubt, and disappointment. We live in a world where comparison is easier than ever. Every time you open your phone, you see someone who seems to be doing better than you. Someone who looks like they have it all together. Someone who's making more money, traveling to better places, living in a bigger house, achieving more, experiencing more. Social media has turned life into a constant scoreboard. Everyone posting their highlights, their best moments, their carefully curated versions of reality. And it tricks you into thinking that their success somehow diminishes yours. But here's what you have to remember. You are only seeing the surface. You don't see the struggles behind the scenes. You don't see the late nights, the failures, the self-doubt they battle. You don't see the sacrifices, the insecurities, the moments of weakness. You see a snapshot, not the full story. And yet, you compare your raw, unfiltered reality to someone else's highlight reel and wonder why you don't measure up. Comparison convinces you that you're falling behind, but behind who? Behind what? Life is not a race. There's no universal timeline that says you have to be at a certain place by a certain age. Success doesn't come with an expiration date. Some people find their calling at 20, some don't find it until 50. Some people get married young, others never get married at all. Some build businesses, others build families, others build both. There is no single path to happiness, no one-size-fits-all blueprint for success. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday, and let's be honest, comparison kills gratitude. The moment you start focusing on what someone else has, you stop appreciating what you have. You could be making progress, growing, evolving, doing better than you were a year ago, but if you're constantly looking at someone ahead of you, you won't even recognize it. Instead of celebrating your wins, you minimize them. Instead of being proud of how far you've come, you feel like it's not enough. And the crazy thing is, there are people out there looking at you, wishing they had what you have, wishing they were where you are. But you're too busy looking at someone else to even notice. Comparison doesn't just steal your joy, it paralyzes you. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you question your path. It makes you feel like no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough. And when you start believing that, you stop trying. You hold back, you hesitate. You convince yourself that if you can't be the best, why even bother? You waste time worrying about what someone else is doing instead of focusing on what you need to do. But the truth is, there will always be someone ahead of you, always. No matter how successful you become, no matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone who has more, who has done more, who seems to be further along. And if you don't learn to shut out the noise and focus on your journey, you will spend your entire life chasing a moving target, never feeling satisfied, never feeling fulfilled. The only way to break free from this cycle is to shift your focus inward, to stop measuring your success by someone else's timeline, to start recognizing your own progress, to celebrate your own wins, no matter how small they may seem. Because at the end of the day, your life is yours, your journey is yours. Your definition of success is yours. And the sooner you stop looking sideways and start looking forward, the sooner you'll realize that the only person you ever needed to impress was yourself. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. Yet so many people stay stuck there, reliving old mistakes, holding on to regrets, replaying painful memories, and carrying the weight of things they can't change. They let their past define them, control them, and limit them. They cling to what was instead of focusing on what could be. But the truth is, as long as you're living in the past, you're robbing yourself of the present. You're sabotaging your future before it even has a chance to begin. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've failed. Maybe you've been hurt, betrayed, or disappointed. Maybe you've lost something or someone that meant everything to you. Maybe you wish you could go back and do things differently, say something different, make a different choice. But no matter how much you dwell on it, no matter how many times you replay it in your mind, you can't change it. You can't rewrite history. You can't undo what's been done. The only thing you can control is what happens next. But here's the problem. If you're constantly looking backward, you're not moving forward. If you keep telling yourself the same old stories about what went wrong, what you lost, how you were hurt, you're keeping yourself trapped in a cycle that doesn't serve you. Your past can either be a lesson or a prison, and the only difference is what you choose to do with it. Some people stay stuck because they don't realize they have a choice. They believe that because something happened to them, it defines them. That because they failed before, they will fail again. That because they were hurt once, they will always be hurt. They carry their past like a weight, dragging it with them into every new experience, every new opportunity, every new relationship. They don't just remember the past, they relive it over and over until it becomes their identity. And the most dangerous thing about living in the past, it blinds you to the opportunities in front of you. It convinces you that nothing will change, that you've already missed your chance, that the best is behind you. It keeps you playing small, making excuses, waiting for a different ending to a story that's already been written. It makes you afraid to take risks, to open yourself up, to try again, because you're too busy looking at where you've been to see where you could go. But the past doesn't have to define you. Your mistakes don't have to define you. Your pain doesn't have to define you. The things that happen to you do not have to control what happens next for you. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your losses, your heartbreaks, your missed opportunities. You are the person who survived those things. You are the person who is still here, still standing, still capable of creating something better. And yes, letting go is hard, moving on is hard, but what's harder? Wasting years of your life being stuck in something you can't change? Letting your past rob you of the happiness, success, and fulfillment that are waiting for you? Looking back at your life and realizing that you never fully lived it because you were too busy holding on to something that was already gone? The only way to change your life is to take control of your future. And the only way to take control of your future is to release the grip of the past. You can't heal in the same environment that hurt you. You can't build a new story while clinging to the old one. You can't step into the next chapter of your life if you're still rereading the last one. The past is over. The only question that matters now is, what are you going to do next? How many dreams have been delayed? How many opportunities have been missed? And how many lives have been wasted waiting for the so-called right time? How many times have you told yourself, I'll start when things settle down, I'll go for it when I feel ready, or I'll take action when the timing is perfect, and yet that perfect time never comes? Waiting for the right time is one of the most dangerous illusions we tell ourselves. It's the most common excuse disguised as logic. It makes you feel responsible, like you're being smart, strategic, and patient, but in reality, it's just fear wrapped in procrastination. It's a way to justify inaction. It's a way to stay in your comfort zone while convincing yourself that someday, eventually, you'll make your move. But let's be honest, when has the timing ever been perfect? Has there ever been a time in your life where everything lined up exactly how you wanted it to, where the conditions were ideal, the risks were low, and the road ahead was free of obstacles? Probably not, because life doesn't work that way. There will always be distractions. There will always be challenges. There will always be reasons to wait, to delay, to put things off just a little longer. And if you keep waiting, you'll wake up one day and realize you've waited your whole life. Think about the people who have achieved greatness, whether in business, sports, relationships, or personal development. Do you think they waited for the perfect moment to start? Do you think they sat around waiting for the stars to align, for fear to disappear, for everything to feel comfortable? No. They moved forward despite uncertainty, despite doubt, despite fear, because they understood something most people don't. Success doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. And if you don't take action, someone else will. Every single day that you wait is a day you'll never get back. A day you could have used to build something, learn something, grow into the person you're meant to be. But instead, you convince yourself that tomorrow will be different, that next week will be better, that someday you'll feel more ready. But the truth is, someday is a lie. Later is an illusion. And perfect timing is nothing more than a convenient excuse to stay exactly where you are. The reality is, action creates momentum. You don't wait for motivation. You generate it. You don't wait for confidence. You build it through action. You don't wait for the perfect plan. You start with what you have and adjust along the way. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have every detail plan. You just need to take the first step, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more you delay, the more you reinforce the habit of hesitation. And that hesitation becomes a pattern. It becomes part of your identity. You become someone who almost starts, who almost takes the leap, who almost goes for it, but never fully commits. And the danger of that? You start convincing yourself that your dreams were never possible to begin with. That maybe you weren't meant for more. That maybe you should just accept where you are. But deep down, you know that's not true. Deep down, you know that if you just started earlier, you could already be miles ahead. So what are you waiting for? The perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself? None of those things exist. The only thing that exists is right now, this moment, this decision, this opportunity. And the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple. Those who succeed start before they feel ready. They take action even when it's uncomfortable. They move forward even when the future is uncertain, because they understand something that will change your life if you embrace it. The right time is the moment you decide to make it right. The life you want, the success you crave, the happiness you deserve, it's all within reach, but it won't come from doing more. It won't come from adding endless tasks to your plate, chasing perfection, or waiting for the stars to align. It will come from letting go of the habits, the beliefs, and the patterns that are keeping you stuck. Quit making excuses, because your dreams don't care about your reasons. Quit negative self-talk, because the way you speak to yourself determines the life you create. Quit toxic relationships, because the people around you either lift you higher or pull you down. Quit fear-based decisions, because growth never happens inside your comfort zone. Quit procrastination, because waiting won't get you any closer to your goals. Quit comparing yourself to others, because your path is yours alone. Quit living in the past, because the only thing you can control is what happens next. Quit waiting for the right time, because right now is all you have. The moment you quit these things, you take back your power. You stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. You stop watching life happen and start making life happen. And when you do that, when you fully commit to becoming the person you were meant to be, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So the question is, what are you willing to quit today so you can finally start living the life you were meant to live?